Welcome to podcast 28, entitled Managing Your Margins. I can't believe we're at number 28.
Yep,
That's
28.
amazing. This is from chapter 11 in our book, Marriage on the Mend.
Quiet on the set. Lights. Camera. Action. Roll camera.
But the next 10 podcasts, including this, right?
Yes.
They are going to be dedicated to chapter 11.
That's it.
Why? Because margins and the mini marriage retreat have absolutely transformed our marriage. First, before we go into the mini marriage retreat and what it is, let me just say that margins, what we mean by margins is intentional time. Just like margins on a page keep it organized and set up, margins around your marriage keep your marriage level and organized and moving with God's heartbeat and not all chaotic and out of focus.
Was that right? Not, in other words, we're not letting the world run our marriage. We're
Absolutely.
letting God run it.
We did that the first time around, didn't we? We let the world run our marriage, and it was a frantic pace.
And we really didn't know what to do. When we got to the crisis stage, we didn't know what to do. We couldn't tell anybody that we were in a crisis because we were the church darlings and we were in leadership.
We were running ahead of God.
That's right. So what happened is, second time around, we get remarried, and in the first week or two, we realized we didn't know how to be married God's way. So we got on our knees and prayed. One of the things that we got out of this to be intentional about our marriage and keeping it strong was we get away 4 times a year. So what we do is we get away 4 times a year with God. Mm-hmm. We intentionally go someplace other than our home. Mm-hmm. We go someplace where we won't be interrupted by the phone, the internet, the TV, friends that could stop in, or family that could stop in. We might only go to the next town, but what we do is we get away with God and plan out in 7 different areas. And those 7 different areas are spiritual, relational, health and fitness, professional, financial, home. And the best one that I like is big dreams and possibilities. Yes, yes, yes. And so what the deal is that all the specifics of these 7 different areas are in the Marriage on the Mend book in chapter 11. But the next 10 podcasts, or the next 9, I guess, after this one, we're going to go into a little bit more detail just to give you a clue what each of those areas entails.
Yeah, the mini marriage retreat is absolutely awesome, and we will go into a lot of detail. But right now, before we close this podcast, let me just dispel any objections you might have up front. Yeah. I can already hear some of you saying, we don't have the time to do that. We don't have the money to do that. Yeah. We don't either. Yeah. But what we've realized is that this intentional margin of what the mini marriage retreat allows us to do with the Lord is a high priority in really getting us to focus on how God wants us to be married this time. Yeah. So, we have to plan in advance, don't we? We put these on our calendar before anything else goes on our calendar for a year. The mini marriage retreats go on there, and we plan for it. We budget for it because it is a priority. And, you're going to have to tweak what we share in these podcasts, because we're not saying your marriage has to fit into Clinton Penny's mold of the mini marriage retreat. Tweak it. Tweak the tool to fit your marriage. We'll go into more detail about all those things and some of the tips we've learned along the way. Right. But the next podcast for the mini marriage retreat is going to be the topic of spiritual, right?
Oh,
it is the most important focus area, spiritual.
It's probably the center pillar of your marriage and of your individual relationship with God.
So tune in next week for the focus area of spiritual.
God bless.